I'm not real crazy about those. No one knows my job while I'm gone, so when I come back, it's out all piled up. That's not good. Long week's my hard, man.
44, 45.
They're beautiful. They cleaned it up one day and came back next day. Yes. Seems like they do that. I remember when I lived in Florida, we had like 3 of them on the song. Yeah, I've done years and years, and we had like 3.
It was a beautiful day for it.
It's too good.
Yeah, it was.
I could take one on straight to you.
I know.
Good. Okay, Corey, if you're leading the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Corey. Roll call, please.
McMurray. McMurray.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Clyburn.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Pelosi.
Yes.
Okay, council, look over the minutes of the September 16th regular meeting, please.
And again, since we get these ahead of time, I'm going to go ahead and approve the minutes from the September 16th meeting.
Okay, that's second. Second. Any discussion or anything? Vote, please.
Taylor.
Yes.
Clyburn.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Pelosi.
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I make a request that the special, or the minutes for the special council meeting be read?
Red.
Read.
No, I don't know where to read them. Why?
I just think it needs to be after. Second page, third page.
Well, Carl, what are you talking about? Just go ahead.
September 24th meeting.
I know that, but what's your issue with them?
I think they need to be read for the public to know.
I can read it. Special council meeting, Village of Greenfield, September 24th, 2024. Chairman Clyburn called the September 24th, 2024 meeting to order at 3:30 p.m. Roll call, the following members answered to roll call for the special council meeting: Mary Ellen McMurray, Corey Taylor, Phil Clyburn, Carlos Dutton, and Brenda Losi. Purpose of the called special meeting to adjourn into executive session pursuant to ORC section 121.22G1 to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee and to consider the following legislation. First reading of ordinance 32/2024, an ordinance creating the part-time position of human resources specialist in the Village of Greenfield and declaring an emergency. First reading of resolution number 26/2024, a resolution accepting the bid of G&J Paving Incorporated, authorizing and directing the city manager and finance director to execute a contract with G&J Paving Incorporated and declaring an emergency. First reading of resolution number 27/2024, a resolution accepting the bid of A1 Tree Care, authorizing and directing the city manager and finance director to execute a contract with A1 Tree Care and declaring an emergency. Mrs. Losi moved to adjourn into executive session for the aforementioned purpose. Mr. Clyburn seconded. Vote yea 5, Taylor, Clyburn, Uten, Losi, McMurray, nay 0. Motion carried. The public meeting stopped at 3:30 p.m. The meeting returned from executive session at 3:50 p.m. Mrs. Losi provided the first reading of ordinance 32/2024, an ordinance creating the part-time position of human resources specialist in the Village of Greenfield and declaring an emergency. Mrs. McMurray made a motion to receive. Mr. Taylor seconded. Vote yea 5, Uten, Losi, McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, nay 0. Motion carried. Mr. Clyburn made a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings. Mr. Taylor seconded. Vote yea 5. Losi, McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, Uten, nay 0. Motion carried. Mrs. Locy moved to adopt, Mrs. McMurray seconded. Vote yea 5, Locy, McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, Newton, nay 0. Ordinance 32, 2024 was duly adopted. Mrs. Locy provided the first reading for Resolution 26, 2024, a resolution accepting the bid of G&J Paving Incorporated, authorizing and directing the city manager and finance director to execute a contract with G&J Paving Incorporated and declaring an emergency. Mrs. McMurray moved to receive. Mrs. Locy seconded. Vote yea 5. McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, Newton, Locy, nay 0. Motion carried. Mr. Taylor moved to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings. Mr. Clyburn seconded. Vote yea 5. Taylor, Clyburn, Newton, Locy, McMurray, nay 0. Motion carried. Mrs. Locy moved to adopt Resolution 2624. Mr. Taylor seconded. Vote yea 5. Clyburn, Newton, Locy, McMurray, Taylor, nay 0. Resolution 26, 2024 was duly adopted. Mrs. Locy provided the first reading for Resolution 27, 2024, a resolution accepting the bid of A1 Tree Care, authorizing and directing the city manager and finance director to execute a contract with A1 Tree Care and declaring an emergency. Mrs. McMurray made a motion to receive. Mrs. Locy seconded the motion. Vote yea 5. Newton, Locy, McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, nay 0. Motion carried. Mrs. McMurray made a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings. Mr. Clyburn seconded. Vote yea 5. Locy, McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, Newton, nay 0. Mrs. McMurray moved to adopt. Mr. Taylor seconded. Vote yea 5. McMurray, Taylor, Clyburn, Newton, Locy, nay 0. Resolution 27, 2024 was duly adopted. Chairman Clyburn made a motion to hire Gary Silcott as interim city manager starting October 15, 2024. Mr. Taylor seconded. Yea 5. Vote yea 5. Taylor, Newton, Clyburn, Locy, McMurray, nay 0. Motion carried. Vice Chairman McMurray moved to offer Mr. Wilkin 3-month severance pay in accordance with Mr. Zett's advisement. Mr. Clyburn seconded. Vote yea 4. Clyburn, Locy, McMurray, Taylor, nay 1. Motion carried. Adjournment. Mr. Taylor moved to adjourn. Mr. Uten seconded. Vote yea 5. Nay 0. The meeting was adjourned at 4:06 p.m. Respectively submitted, approved by council this 7th day of October 2024. Catherine Bloomberg, Clerk of Council, Bill Clyburn, Chairman.
The reason why I brought that up is because I was under the opinion or whatever that we voted on to have that is the motion for 3-month severance pay for Mr. Wilson to be reevaluated, the number and the cost of the money that was going to give him. Apparently, we voted to go ahead and just grant him the money that was listed on the letter by Mr. Zets. Is that what we agreed to? Boy, I missed that one, didn't I? What was this once again?
3 months? It was in his contract.
Well, if you're going to go by, if we're going to give him 3 months severance, and here's where it goes backwards. Per his contract, he's not allowed to have a severance pay unless we voted on it, which apparently we did. The severance pay is just for the 3 months.
Yeah.
That means binding on a contract. That means he doesn't get his sick pay, his vacation pay, his contract. So are we giving him the whole thing? Is that how you come up with that number?
I talked to Mr. Zets today, and he said he was looking at the contract and the ordinance that we passed to make sure that everything was correct. But at that time of the meeting, that was the best information that we had. Okay? So all I'm doing is we're waiting until Mr. Zets gets back to look at the contract and the stuff that we passed as a council, and then he's going to give us that. So that's what
Okay, so it's basically in limbo until that says.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we?
Move to receive the special council meeting minutes. I'll move to receive.
Second.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Locy,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes. Okay, committee reports, ordinance committee.
Yes, we met, our ordinance committee did meet. We have, let me get my notes real quick. We did ask that, we were discussing what we can do with the property on Washington Street. We did have a recommendation from Zetz about what we wanted to do. He is currently working on that so that we all will be informed and we can vote at a later date. We also did ask to repeal any reconnection fees and late penalties from the water department. So we did make a recommendation about that too, and I'm just waiting for Zetz to come back with an ordinance on that so that we can also vote on that.
Any
And
questions?
those were our recommendations.
Todd, city manager, please.
I don't have a formal report. I do want to say that this is, unfortunately, would be my last city manager meeting. And but I want to thank the community for the opportunity to serve. We've been here for 6.5 years. I was thinking about this last night. When I started, my oldest was 14 years old and my youngest was 2. And my oldest is now 21, married and lives in Austin, and my oldest is 9. So we've had a great opportunity to be here. My family has changed tremendously. We want to thank the community for the opportunity to serve. And we always, when we take on a position like this, we want to always try our best to give back to the community better than what we received. And I feel like we've improved a lot of infrastructure in town that needed a lot of improvement. And so I think that we've been very successful in making sure that we are giving back to the community better. And so, understanding as the meeting minutes were read tonight with Mr. Silcott being approved as the interim city manager, what I like about that is Mr. Silcott has been involved in a lot of these infrastructure projects that we've seen come to fruition over the past 6.5 years, and he knows where they need to go as far as continuance to continue to make improvements to water and sewer. And so I'm excited about that for him and for Greenfield. And so that really just concludes what I wanted to say this evening, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for all you've done. Appreciate it very much. Gary, would you like to take this opportunity to introduce yourself and
Sure.
And also, Gary, we've had some questions about the water tower.
Okay.
The steps we have to go through to get the funding for the water tower. If you would cover that too, please.
Sure. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gary Silcott with DLZ. I've worked with Todd in the village for 6.5 years. Helped do most of the infrastructure projects you've done, helped you apply for some grants and get some funding and things like that. So looking forward to continuing that process. Hoping to try to maintain a little bit of cohesiveness and try to get through this time you're going to go through here. I know there's an election coming up in less than a month that might change things. So I understand the need to kind of hold off and wait to hire your official one until you figure out exactly what is going to be needed when you're done. But I've done this kind of work before. I promise you that I'm here to look out for the best for the village of Greenfield. I'm kind of a no-nonsense guy. I can say in my 6.5 years, I've witnessed a lot of stuff that I don't think is okay that's happened in this village. And I'm going to try to regroup and kind of get the troops to understand that we're all here to represent the citizens of the village of Greenfield, and that that's what our goal should be. We should always be looking out to better the community and do what's right, and not politics. I always tell people, and they never taught me that in college, but that's probably the one thing that cost me more than anything is the politics that goes along with stuff. But I'm here to do my best for the village. I know it's going to be tough. It's only part-time, 5 hours a week, but I think we'll be able to do that. And then we'll have to work on, I'm sure there's going to be more time needed than that for certain things, but we'll work with you the best we can. I know Felson's Park is an important project for the village, so I'm going to do my best to help steer that along and get that done as well. So again, I appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully we can kind of move forward. I think Todd's done a great job and done a lot of things that have been positive for the village, and I would like to continue to do that and make it a better place for everybody here, and do our best to get as many grants and low interest loans as we can, because you guys got a lot of infrastructure that needs to be updated. And unfortunately, that's I think a lot of people lose the sight that water and sewer and infrastructure and roads is a business. If it was your own personal business, you wouldn't run it at a loss. I mean, you got to kind of run it, and fortunately, as a city, you don't have to, or a village, you don't have to make a ton of money like a business would, but you still have to make enough to maintain and put some in the kitty, so when things go wrong, you have some money there to do it, so, we'll continue to help you strive there. The water tower, we are working on that. We have, the plans and specs have been done. We actually have it out to bid once, but then you got a congressionally directed spending funding that paid 100% of it. So we backed it off and said, look, let's don't spend your money, let's let you get the free money to do it. So we've been working through that process. Unfortunately, when it comes from the federal government, it has red tape and reports, and we had to do an environmental review, we had to do all kinds of different things to get the thing, but we've been through that process, and now it's moving up the line to get a final approval. What we've projected in-house is that hopefully that'll go out to bid probably sometime after the first of the year, and hopefully when the weather breaks, April, May, it's about the time they'll start paying and doing that kind of stuff. So hopefully at that point we'll have a contract awarded, and in the springtime we'll start to see that get cleaned up and prettied up and be ready to go.
So this project came from an entirely separate filing money, but you had to go through different steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically, they didn't used to like the word, but I think they're back to liking it a little bit better. It's basically an earmark. Congressmen and senators have certain dollars they can allocate towards projects. We've had some, in that same thing, we had a couple other municipalities get $5 million for their projects. It all depends on what you ask for, but in my mind, it's not, the negativity comes from the bridge to nowhere, where somebody, was a kickback or something like this. But in these instances where it really is helping communities that need the money and need the help, it's great, and they should do it. They should continue to do it forever, because to me, that's what it's meant for. It's literally our tax dollars that they're spending. So I would much rather see it be used towards municipal governments that are actually doing something than some kind of, wild projects that kind of gave it a bad name. But from our experience, we've seen it be a great thing. It's helped a lot of projects get there, to the next level that they maybe couldn't get there before. So. And it saved the village, $500,000, so pretty good deal.
So I know on that project, there's been concern because the EPA had given us a timeline, right, of 3 years. And I think if we're not actually starting until after January, our 3 years is up.
Mm-hmm.
So will they take into consideration that we are going through this process?
Yeah.
And so they understand that,
Yeah.
that's already been communicated to them?
No, we haven't, but they're the ones who are funding it. So
Okay.
it comes from the federal, but then they push it through the EPA. So the EPA is actually doing the administration. That's who we're working with to get it approved. So, and typically from I actually have a project in Gallia County that has findings and orders, which is basically an official, you do this and you got dates. And we went through date after date after date after date, because it's easy for them to say, look, mandate and say, you got to do this. Well, it's got to be affordable. We can't just go do something because you told us to. So that project has been going on for 10 years, and every time the deadline comes up and we're working, we're trying to get the funding. We broke it up into phases so we could get more funding and those kind of things, and they'll work with you. They understand. They're not here to put the hammer down and put fines and penalties on you. If you might be thumb your nose at them and say, look, we aren't doing it, then it's a different story. But if they see you working at it and going through the process, they're perfectly fine with it.
So this tower, does that serve half the community then?
It serves the whole community.
So the whole community gets their fresh water from this tower?
It's basically your reservoir to hold, more than a day's supply that you need. But that way, if something happens, the plant goes down, or you have a water line break, or you have a fire, that's the extra capacity that you have to fight the fire, or do whatever you need to do. Or if you have a water line break and the tank gets drained or something like that, it gives you just extra storage. EPA recommends you have at least 1 day of the storage. That way, if something goes wrong, you can still survive for a day. But you guys got more than that, and you've got probably 3 days worth of storage. But yeah, and what they'll do when they do that, it'll be empty, so it won't be there. But they'll put pressure relief valves in certain parts of the system, and the plant will just have to pump more, and then it'll just blow off the excess water you have until they get it done. It'll probably take a month or so to get it painted and rehabbed, and then we're also doing clear well work at the water plant too. So, but hopefully, we could check.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for stepping in and helping the village. Okay.
Is that condolences or is that?
Right now.
Help is help, no matter which way it comes.
Sure, yeah. And I promise you I'll do my best.
Well, I know you're limited to 1 day a week. Are you gonna have a project manager to help oversee things going on?
My thought is that you have staff here that we're gonna try to say, look, we need you to kind of step up and do what you need to do to kind of keep, always be available by phone, but I won't always be able to get here for every single thing, and we'll try to work the best we can. But, the goal is to try to get the staff to do what you've already planned to do, and work through it, and then I guess I'll be the referee and maybe the one who kind of, yeah, and try to be, the steward of, making things sure, I told these guys that I plan to have like probably when I do come over once a week, I'll probably have a staff meeting. We'll go through things, we'll talk about it, make sure things are moving along, try to make sure, get me up to date, up to speed on some of the things that are going on a little bit. Todd and I spent some time this afternoon going over some things, so we can make sure we kind of try to hopefully do this without any hiccups. So you can't take a full-time guy and put a guy in there for 5 hours a week and make it be.
That's it.
But hopefully, I think hopefully your staff will step up and, they can do their jobs, and I think hopefully,
I feel that we will.
yeah, if not, we'll do what we need to do. And I know we talked about, I may not be able to come to every single council meeting, but, I gave you guys all my card. If you got questions or comments, feel free to give me a call at any time, and, I'm certainly just as committed as I can be to continue what we've been doing for the village.
Once again, we thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
All right, Barry. Hey, thanks a lot for Brendan for that, and bringing us up to date on the water tower and answering people's questions and things like that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, any other communications? Council?
Yes, and I apologize, I forgot I left my phone on the charger at home, so I don't have it, but I sent it to everyone. Did you get, the thing about, we had an issue where a lady fell on the sidewalk down near Black Cat Tattoo. The sidewalk is unlevel, it's hooped up. And they were kind of concerned because it seems to be a very gray area of who's really responsible for that sidewalk. Is it the city or is it the business owner? So I did say that we would discuss that tonight and kind of talk about that a little bit and find out, because the lady did suffer broken ribs. I mean, it wasn't just a fall down, she was injured. So
Well, is the sidewalk damaged because of a tree?
I don't know
I think it's
about
from a
that.
Black Cat. I think there's a tree there.
So, well, we had that issue once before, and at that time, it was the business owner's responsibility.
Yeah, the ordinance does state that it is the business owner's responsibility to keep the sidewalks in good repair. If this is a matter that council would desire that we reach out to insurance for, we can do that, but it's really, the ordinance is, it's not really gray, but the ordinance does say if it's out in front of your property or business, the sidewalk is your responsibility for maintenance and repair. I know a lot of times the older trees are an issue for sidewalks. I think that happens all throughout town. Doesn't matter if you're downtown or where you might be. I think Mr. Taylor has referenced maybe a ramp that you ramped when you were a kid on a sidewalk from a tree. So that's typically how things are done. I know there was a business owner across the street that someone had a laptop being worked on. They stepped out, they tripped, dropped their laptop they just had fixed, and it broke. So the business owner did buy a new laptop for that individual. But it's typically it would be the business owner or property owner that's responsible.
And that was kind of my understanding, but I just want to make
I
sure
think
that
we
we
need
were
to go
clear
in
on it.
depth to it, because it's like catch-22 for the business owner. Okay, we're told we're responsible for the sidewalk, but yet the village will say, hey, if you want to place stuff out on your sidewalk and stuff, you got to get a permit, or if I wanted to put my awnings up, I have to do a full permit, drawings and everything else. So I think it's an issue that needs to be clarified for sure.
I don't think that has anything to do with maintaining the sidewalk.
But
That's a zoning thing.
if the village knows, the village has to maintain the sidewalks, then they should be able to request that we put in a drawing for sidewalk awnings or stuff like that. But if the property owner is responsible for the sidewalk, then we shouldn't have to worry about getting a permit to put up our little side railings and stuff. So someone's gonna have to accept the responsibility to who's responsible for the sidewalk.
The railings that you're referring to is it's a liquor license issue. And that's where the railings come into account for the permit. So if you're talking about railings, if you're talking about awning, That is a building permit issue.
Awnings, I'm well
You know,
aware.
the building permit requires, the state of Ohio does require certain, loads and wind specifications, and so that's all through the state of Ohio. So I don't know if that helps you with what your questions are related to the awning and or railings, but the railings are, literally
That's
for
a
liquor.
different
Yeah,
area.
that's a liquor control issue.
So do we know what we're going to say to those folks that reached out?
Do you want to give them our insurance contact and they can?
Yeah, so, sometimes things like this happen, right? Where there's accidents, sometimes the insurance, unfortunately, and you guys know this, they call them, some things acts of God, right? So with a pothole, they call an act of God. But still yet, because we want to provide the service, we still want to take the information and send it over to the insurance company and just get their thoughts on it as well. So, if that information can be shared with me, then we can send it on to our insurance. We've had, unfortunately, a few situations where someone has stepped on a meter lid, crock lid, and they flipped, right? And so the person, their leg fell in or whatever. So there's been 2 instances I know that since I've been here that we've had to send that over to insurance. I think in both situations, insurance didn't cover it, but it's still worth sending, to the insurance.
I can get you the information and we can reach out to them, so that's fine.
It is pretty common in most municipalities that the sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner.
Brenda, ready?
I'm ready. Okay, I've already got my mind up. Tonight we have third reading of ordinance number 28, 2024, an ordinance to increase appropriations of the 240 Railroad Fund of the Village of Greenfield and within the 2024 budget.
Need a motion?
Move to adopt.
Who was the second?
Very quiet.
Uten,
Yes.
Losi,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn.
Yes.
And first reading of ordinance number 33, 2024, an ordinance to increase appropriations of the 600 water fund of the Village of Greenfield and within the 2024 budget and declaring an emergency.
Move to receive.
I'll second it.
Losi,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten.
Yes.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losi.
Yes. And move to adopt.
Second.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losi,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Then we have first reading of ordinance number 34, 2024, an ordinance to transfer funds from the general fund to the park fund and to increase appropriations of the park fund of the Village of Greenfield and within the 2024 budget and declaring an emergency.
I'll move to receive.
This is, yes.
Second.
Sorry.
Yeah, right, it's about time.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losi,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes. Todd, do you want to talk about that one?
So at the last meeting, Mr. Howland had came forward and said there were some expenditures out at the Mitchell's Park, and that's what this is to cover, is those expenditures, and then for forecasted, fourth quarter expenditures out at Mitchell's Park.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second. Second.
What?
Second.
Uten,
Yes.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten.
Yes.
Okay, next one.
Ordinance, first reading of ordinance number 35, 2024, an ordinance to increase appropriations of the 201 Street Fund and the 207 City Hall Improvement Fund of the Village of Greenfield and within the 2024 budget and declaring an emergency.
I'll move to receive.
I'll second.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losey.
Yes.
Todd, you want to talk about this one?
So this one, Mr. Lewis had asked for this increase. I actually just was able to follow up with him today on this. So this is to pay for, so the street fund is to pay for our street lighting. The city hall improvement is to pay for the lights and utility costs here at City Hall. And it's an increase, we had an increase in rates that we did not know about and did not anticipate. And so that's to cover the increase in energy, right? So our lights are on burning pretty much all day. And then we've had some additional maintenance issues with our boiler and HVAC system this year that weren't anticipated. So that's to cover both those costs. And also for the remainder of the year is what that hope is for.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Then we have third reading of resolution number 23, 2024, a resolution approving the economic development Trex transfer forms submitted by R&B Smoke and Stuff LLC for 205 North Washington Street and authorizing the city manager to complete and sign the transfer form. Move to adopt.
Second.
Why don't you say pick one?
Uten,
Yes.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn.
Yes.
And then first reading of resolution 28, 2024, a resolution authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Lindsay Renner and declaring an emergency.
Move to receive.
Second.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Move to suspend rules.
Second.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Losey.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Wooten,
No.
Losey,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Okay. You gotta go? All right, we'll see you later. Take off. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
See you later. Okay, public participation. You got 5 minutes, first row.
For the record, allow me to introduce myself. Number one, I'm a resident of the village. I'm a taxpayer and I'm a registered voter, an active voter. My name is Paul King. First thing on my list, I've written them down so I don't get sidetracked. Did Mr. Wilkin work under a contract? And if so, did he resign mid-contract or was this at the expiration of his contract?
You want an answer?
Yes, and what was his
He's got a
name?
contract, and either party, us or him, to give 30-day notice and then void the contract.
Okay, and what was his annual salary?
92 or 90? Yeah,
So-
something like that.
And then what was his value of his severance package?
I haven't got to that yet.
Well, you said how many months of
Free,
plus possible benefits?
yes.
Uh,
No.
No.
No,
No, it'll be a severance pay of 3 months, and he'll be able to collect his vacation, his comp, and his sick, correct?
that's what we're waiting for.
That's what we're trying to work the number.
I don't know of anybody that's quit a job and got severance package as good as this sounds to me. Hello, people, the man quit his job. He had one lined up, he quit, and he's gonna go right, not miss a day's work, and we wanna give him 3 months of severance package, but for a pat on the back. My question is, Mr. Tim Beach just retired from this village after 30 years of dedicated service. Was he given a severance package of any kind?
We can find out,
Pardon me?
we can find out.
You are council president. You don't know whether Mr. Beach got a severance package?
Mr. Beach talked about quitting, and Mr. Wilkin asked him, got him to retire. So I'm not sure exactly if he did get a severance package or not. The former city manager got a severance package.
Mr. Wilkins served at your convenience, did he or did he not? Why don't you, as council
He
president,
served at all 5 of our convenience, okay?
I understand, you are the council president, sir. Why don't you know whether Mr. Beach got a severance package or not?
We don't directly handle the employees. Our job is to set budgets and things like that. Our job is not to take care of the day-to-day functions of this village.
Well, in my personal opinion, and that's what it is, may not be worth much, but it does not appear that way on the surface, sir.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
What will Mr. Stillcox's salary be? It's been said he's only going to give us 5 hours a week of work. And our new HR manager is going to fill in the rest of the time. What is that combined package going to be?
Our HR person is not going to fill in as city manager.
Well, it's been said that the HR person could handle the position or the responsibilities when the new village manager wasn't here the other 35 hours
I'm
a
not
week.
sure who said that, but that is untrue.
That's not true. That's a lie.
Well, okay, who's going to be handling the operation of the city when Mr. Stillcott is in Logan or wherever he resides or he is for the other 35 hours of work week?
I think he just answered that. He's going to have a staff meeting, go over everything. Staff will be able to contact by him by phone at any time, and that's how it's going to work.
Then why do we need a village manager if the staff can run the place the other 35 hours a week?
The staff will not be running the place all the time. They'll be accountable to him. We also have $5.2 million in park. We've got $500,000. We've got several large investments coming to this town that have to have people that know what they're doing. And he's the one who knows what he's doing because he's worked with these before. You want to take a chance of losing a $5.2 million park?
It doesn't matter to me
Okay, that's fine.
because I think it's a total waste of money. You want to make Greenfield a destination city. You want to put in a big industrial park in order to draw companies in here. Sir, I'm not a lifelong resident of Greenfield, Ohio. I'm not cousin to everybody in this room. I'm just a move-in. And I'm going to tell you, if there's a company that I work for that wanted to put a place in Greenfield Industrial Park, and I drove to Greenfield to decide if I wanted to transfer my job to Greenfield, and I drove around and seen how trashy this town is, there is no way that I would come here for a job or for any water park. You talked about in the recent, Mr. Wilkin did about cleaning up properties. Do you folks live in a bubble? Do you get outside of this room and drive around this town and see the trashy yards? Whose job is it to enforce that? You had somebody that said fell on the sidewalk down here because it is an uneven sidewalk. Used to walk around this town all the time. Majority of the sidewalks are the same. Who's enforcing that the homeowner take care of their sidewalks?
5 minutes. I'll answer your questions real quick. First thing is for the Tri-State Police are empowered. They have to write out the citation. So if you've got trash, you call the police department and you report it. Second thing, I don't feel that way about Greenfield. I'm not cousins to everybody in here. Okay, that's an insult. I want the very best for the people in this community. And a park that serves every age group is great. And jobs for the people that live here, that want to stay here, is great. Because you don't want it, I don't care. Next person, you want to speak?
Sure.
Thank you.
Now, don't get your undies in the bunch, okay? All right. I noticed in the meeting that minutes that there was an impending legal matter being discussed and wanted to see if the rumors were true and if it was Mary Ellen's husband being discussed. This was in October, let's see, I don't have the month on that one, but that was discussed. May I have an answer on that, please?
I talked to Mr. Zest today. There's been no lawsuit. There's been nothing. So there's
And we've never
nothing's
had a
going on.
discussion. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
And we've never had a discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. My second thing is, this was in August 19. Phil, in a previous meeting, you brought up something about no merit to claim Mr. Campbell, I'm thinking that's Nathan, had regarding an audit. While the last audit was finished in 23, there are rumors that another audit was to be complete in September. Is this true?
An audit of our books?
I'm assuming yes.
No, I don't really got that, but no. Mr. Campbell reported us to the, I think, Attorney General. It was investigated. Mr. Campbell said he got his facts from Facebook. They answered back, there was no proof of anything, nothing. One of Mr. Campbell's charges was that out of the water department, we hired people and bought equipment. That we probably are guilty of.
I'm sorry, say that again?
One of Mr. Campbell's charges was out of the water department that we hired people and bought equipment for the water department. That is true, because we have to hire people, pay people out of the water department to do the water department's work. The state came back and said there was no proof of anything, none. Okay?
All right, you may have a question.
I'm confused. We're talking about two different things, aren't we? What was your question again?
That we have.
What, are we having an audit this year or the year he's talking about, or
That
what?
was the audit we had with Campbell.
It was, I don't know what Mr. Campbell brought up, Nathan, I believe it was, Nathan brought it up. And there was no audit on that. When will, is that something that we do every year? I mean, my normal last audit was in 23, do we have an audit every year?
No.
2 years typically.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, say again?
2 years
2
typically.
years, all right, thank you. And I have one more question. Where do we stand on the IT investigation?
The IT investigation, there were claims by the chief of police that the passwords have been changed. The passwords have never been changed. The person that the chief had working, Andy, but said that the passwords were never changed. Nobody was on that system. The police chief that we hired said nobody was on that system. No passwords have been changed. There was no felony charges. VC3, which is the company we hired to take care of these, said there had been no password change, no felonies changed, nobody's been on that system that shouldn't have been on. So 3 different sources. The only thing we have is Misty said it was unplugged. And that was the big problem.
Okay.
Allow me to elaborate.
Yes, please.
Okay. I say this is the right thing. Those statements are not exactly 100% accurate.
Which statements? That was just.
That Phil just stated.
Which ones were, Carlos?
Well, first of all, you have the police chief do an IT investigation that wasn't qualified, so that don't wash. Second of all,
He
the
was
numbers
qualified.
were released. Were they used? We don't know. But the numbers were released.
That is not true.
That's not true.
Well, I would be willing to make a special meeting and bring Todd's audio in to where the guy from BC3 advised Todd that the numbers, all the numbers were given to them. Did they activate the police side? He said no, but all the numbers were given. Okay, and that's out of Todd's own mouth. Okay, the other fact of truly having an IT investigation, we have not had one.
Okay, that was my question, because.
Okay. One, by a hired person who does this throughout the state, who speaks on this for policemen all over the state of Ohio, who knows.
That was the first step,
That's
correct?
the second one. The third one was the company that actually runs it, said there was no breaks
Well,
like
of
the
course they said.
Carlos, like the chief claimed were. There's nothing like that happened. Three different sources said there was nothing like the chief claimed. And his wife said it was unplugged.
Okay,
I believe that the state of Ohio also said that there was no indication that there was a breach.
But yet the state of Ohio still hasn't activated BC3 on the police side because the state of Ohio wants to bring in their own personal server, so they can't.
well, my question was, we did have at a meeting, and you all did agree to have the last investigation. And I've not heard anything about that one.
It was on Facebook. We can get it on Facebook for you again.
No, I was here at the meeting.
No, I'm saying we can get the report on Facebook for you. It's not a problem. It's public record.
Okay, please, I would like to see that.
I thought we did vote on it.
Yeah, no, it was on Facebook. It's been on Facebook twice. It's on Facebook now.
Okay, I have not seen it, but that was in regards to the last, the meeting that was had that agreed upon, there would be another investigation, that you would hire an outside source.
Carlos wanted to hire an outside source that was $31,000. Okay, Boyd decided the question, they said, that was $32,000. Todd talked to them, and they said, well, we'll lower that. They've never gotten back to us. So they basically.
And Todd hasn't followed up with them.
Todd called and asked them, it's $32,000 to do this investigation, we had three sources. Okay, next one, next person.
Well, I believe that you need to finish up and keep the agreement that you made and pass
That
that.
report's been done, and we'll have it on Facebook again.
Okay, please, I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I'd like to see it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Chris?
I just have a couple more quick questions. Mr. Silcott's been hired as an interim, for 5 hours a week. How many weeks are you having that job for? Because the city manager position, according to the Board of Elections, will be open for 14 months. And it seems to me that the duty of this council is to advertise as soon as possible for that position, irrelevant to what's happening in November. The law is the law today. You go by what it is today, not what maybe might happen. You advertise for the job position that is open according to the Board of Elections for 14 months. I'm sure Mr. Silcott does not have the time to be the city manager for 14 months here in Greenfield, nor do I think that, there's maybe some interferences with his own personal company, things that need to be signed off on, he probably won't be able to do due to the fact of conflict of interest. Nothing against you, but I'm just assuming that they did not tell you that this job's for 14 months and 5 hours a week.
That's
That's the contract that you signed on
That's
for.
never been the intention.
That's not the intention.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'm asking-
One 5 hour.
So I guess I'm asking, we have some job openings here in the city. Seen a couple people quit lately. And, according to the current form of government, that city manager was to hire those job openings, post them, all those kind of things. These things aren't posted. So when were you planning on posting for the city manager, which is the duty of the council, post for that, interview for that.
He hasn't even left yet, Chris, give us a minute.
What job are you talking
Neither
about?
did Ron Coffey, but when he announced his retirement date, we posted for the job openings to get the applications rolled in. You do that as soon as possible,
Let's
we'll have
take a
big
breath.
gaps.
Okay, there's a lot going on.
Chris, you said somebody did, are you talking about the water and the wastewater treatment plant? That, have those people all left?
Oh, yeah, you got job openings, you got people that do.
Yeah, well, those have been filled, that job has been filled.
Oh, you posted for those already?
No, we had somebody on staff that's taken over and is gonna be able to take both of those jobs.
So you had extra employees, just full time?
No, just, we have somebody on staff who's got their number two, he's gonna get their number, he's got a couple more weeks, a couple more months to get his third for both places, so he'll be running both of them. And that's not unusual to run the water plant, the wastewater treatment plant.
You got a guy that's gonna have the water license and the wastewater treatment license, you better get him a raise and hang on.
He will be getting a raise, Chris.
If you got both of them covered, that's a good thing. That's the best thing I've heard out of this council all year,
Thank you.
that you have somebody that will do both.
Did something
Yeah,
right.
hold both
Wait,
licenses.
let's write that down.
So it's a good possibility irrelevant to, that job opening. You know, someone who in the future wants to hold that position, you know, if they want to, be the mayor, if it is done that way, or whatever, being the city manager for that year would be a good transition into that. You see what I'm saying? If, for example, if you want to be the mayor, if it comes up, if you're a city manager for 14 months, you know what's going on, you know, doing SELCOP, work hand in hand, roll right into it. It makes good sense, and it's currently the law that you guys fill that position, post for that position. The reason I'm in the subscription, your HR position, she just created in September, the minutes that, she, read. That job posting came down, the last time you were allowed to, bid on it was like August 22nd. It was just created September 20-something, a month later, and I believe the person you named today that entered a contract with is the one that is still in that position. And that's just bad optics, you know, have an application, says the application comes down for a job that don't even exist by law. You guys are legislators. If legislation don't exist for a position until September, and job posting is on August, for a position that don't exist till September, it don't take a rocket science to see that's bad optics. And I don't like to see that in my government. All right, I like to see the job post, the job exist, and then be filled. So I guess I'm just here to try to help you out. So when do you think that'll be posted for the city manager position?
We'll have to check on that, see.
You guys choose the day that's you, that's your job, 100%.
We're gonna check with the Board of Elections first, Chris, I don't think they have any time.
Maybe it has to be filled.
Can we answer this question?
14 months, yeah.
You said Board of Elections, right?
Like, they sent a letter out and they said, yeah.
May I ask you some questions?
Okay,
Are you the president of the Reform Group, is that correct?
that's great.
Okay, you said that we're gonna have elections in June or July this year, that didn't happen, did it? We didn't have an election in June or July to change government, did we?
No.
You
You
told
got
people.
a legislator that,
Okay,
yeah.
no, it's fine. Okay, you told
Yeah.
people you were gonna vote on the mayor's form of government, didn't you?
Yes.
That's not gonna happen either, is it? It's not a mayor's form of government does not exist in the state of Ohio, does it?
That's the federal form of government which gives you a
Yeah, so
mayor.
you were wrong, so you're
What are
criticizing
you
us.
talking about?
Wait a minute, Chris, you're criticizing us for not knowing. You don't know. You told me.
I'm not here to
you
say
told-
you for
wait
not
a
knowing
minute,
anything.
wait a
I
minute.
said you're not doing your job.
You didn't do it either.
Post, what was my job?
You said in November. Chris,
So are
you're
you
gonna-
saying that this council is not responsible to hire the city
I'm
manager?
saying we are, and we'll do it, Chris, but I'm not saying the Board of Elections has any voice on it. I don't believe that. I'm sorry.
totally lost here.
The Board of Elections sent out a flyer just this past weekend that says the city manager has to cover this town until January of 26.
Right.
So who's the city manager till January
We
26?
can hire the interim city manager
That's what
until
we're
this
doing.
time, that we
So
can
we-
post the job and hire somebody get applications, have
And I was
interviews.
asking, when are you posting for the job?
We are working on it.
That's all I was asking.
And right now, the way I'm looking at it, hey, Chris, the way I'm looking at this, we hired this man to come in and act as interim city manager. We're gonna have a new HR person who's gonna handle the HR business. And between Sherry and the chief of police, they'll handle the administration side, sewer and water and streets. That's the way I'm looking at it. I could be wrong. And we definitely have discussed what we're gonna do about getting the city manager hired, but we're gonna have to go through some criteria between all of us of what we want, what we expect, and what we're gonna get. I hope that's a better answer for
That
you.
is a much better answer, and that's all I was looking for.
All right.
Is that you're gonna go over and read
Yes,
the
we are going to sit down,
status or whatever.
have a cup of coffee, and get it together.
All right, thank you.
Yes, I do.
Next?
Mr. Clyburn, may I ask you a question? please?
No, what is it? Go ahead.
I'm gonna smack you. Okay, just a concern. We spoke at one of the meetings about bloodborne pathogens for the sewer system and stuff, you know. If you're handling sewer, waste and so forth. It was said that there would be some training for the people that work on this system. Has that been implemented yet?
I don't know. Again, we don't do the day-to-day operations, so that would be a city manager.
That will actually be
HR.
the HR person. It will be up to her to make sure that everybody is up to date on all of their trainings. I cannot answer that question right now.
I was just concerned about that because, I mean, that is a serious issue.
And to my knowledge, that's already been in place. I mean, that almost any entity that you work for has that in place. So I can't imagine that. It's not, I'm not saying yes or no directly, but I can't imagine that that's not already in place. I mean, I think that's a mandate.
So I ask you a question. Your group at first wanted to have an HR manager. Now, I hear that they don't want to have an HR manager.
I'm sorry, would you say that?
When you first started, in this first round, there was this big demand for an HR manager.
Who's her group you're talking about?
Reform group.
Never said a word about no HR manager.
Oh, there were several meetings.
You said that we made you pay $17,000 for a special election. Where's that
Right.
$17,000?
19 something.
Did you get, where's that special election? Because you just make stuff up and throw it out there, let's make it up and throw it out there.
You could have.
You sat there on that council.
It
So
would have
we
been.
had to pay $17,000 for a special election. They made us do it.
We did discuss.
And we didn't get our trolley either,
We did
folks.
discuss
Yeah.
the HR manager, but you're
Start
saying
throwing mud,
that
see what
someone,
sticks.
I'm sorry, but you're saying that someone
The
doesn't
people
want
that
to?
came from the reform group wanted an HR manager.
Yes, yes.
Now we see that the people from the reform group don't want an HR manager. That's
No,
not what Facebook says.
no, I believe you're wrong.
So
on that,
Facebook is
because we
legislating
do
you.
too. I mean,
Steve, did you want to speak?
I know
Yeah,
that
but
you're
I don't want to
doing
get a
this.
pissing contest.
See, there's mud.
Well, sir, I'm empty, so come on.
No, I was just here to say, I mean, not to come out there.
Steve, we welcome you.
I appreciate the last time I was here. I appreciate the last time we were here, where I spoke about the property tax issue. You folks took it very seriously.
Yes, sir.
Mario printed some numbers, a letter was written. It went to, I believe, the governor, the commissioners, the auditor, and both of our legislatures.
And-
I received a letter back from the governor's office today on this issue. So, every letter helped, every complaint helped. I believe the legislature will act on this by the end of the year. Thank you.
No, thank Mary Ellen for doing that.
Yeah, Mary Ellen was very much in
Yeah,
charge of doing that.
Good evening.
Good evening, Richard.
I'm just here for an update, from what happened to the last city council meeting, that, I was told that, you guys have to draw up a thing with the lawyer, and I just wonder what, if the lawyer has got back with anybody.
We'll know probably sooner than we will.
Another concern of mine, what Todd stepping down is, he's going to be getting a phone call, as far as, on city council. He's the lawyer going to reach out to, as far as.
The lawyer's still gonna reach out to us if he needs to reach out to us. We're still here.
Which,
In reference to his case, is what he said.
Oh,
which council member will they be reaching out?
probably Phil, because he's
I
president.
assume so, yes.
Well, the ordinance.
Or the ordinance, because we already
Well,
sent it in.
Or, yes,
It'll be-
or us, yeah, because I'm over the ordinance committee, so if he needs to feel like it's through the ordinance, he'll reach out to me. But he knows how to reach out to every one of us, so it's not an issue of who.
The lawyer still hasn't reached out to.
No.
Nobody.
No.
This is a whole different subject, but that had been brought up, tonight in a meeting. As far as sidewalks, what's the distance, between a road and a sidewalk that the city's responsible for, and what is the distance between a sidewalk and a house that the city is responsible for? And the reason being is there's, I don't know if the city is reliable for, I live at 625 South Bushman Street. There's, for life of me, I should have, jotted down the address, but it's actually right across from 625 South Bushman Street. It's a house that's boarded up, but they have a tree that's kind of leaning over onto the road itself. There's limbs getting ready to fall, and like you said, earlier that, the insurance companies looks at it as an act of God. Well, like I said, I don't know government, I don't want to pretend I do. But I also have heard people say that, well, if you send, if you guys are responsible, then I assume that I would send a letter to you for you to, remedy the problem. If it's a homeowner issue, then I write a letter to the homeowner saying, you need to take care of this. Well, if it damages my vehicle, in my driveway, because we have a driveway that, you can fit 2 cars. Well, if a man comes down and you've already made contact with, either you guys or the homeowner, and a tree comes down, they are responsible.
Actually,
Well,
I
first
hate
of
to
all, you
tell you
have to
this, but
determine who's responsible.
yes, and I hate to tell you this, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you are responsible. Your insurance has to pay for it.
I go,
Even though it's a tree on somebody else's property, it still ends up, if it falls on your property, you're responsible.
I got off
I've
track.
seen this happen before.
I got off track when I was talking.
Doesn't seem right, but
What I'm talking about on the sidewalk here in front of Black Cats, you have the building, you have the sidewalk, and then you have this little space area before the curb. If there's a tree in that curb area and it tears up the sidewalk, the real question is who's responsible? Okay, on who's replacing that sidewalk. Gary said it would be
business center,
the
because it came up.
the business owner.
Yes.
I totally disagree with that because the business owner didn't plant the tree.
That's where it goes out. Let me ask you this
Answer my question.
with that being said. Okay, you guys, like I said, I understand storms happen. But let's say someone's traveling down South Washington Street, okay? And that tree comes down in somebody's windshield. And it causes someone to, and don't get me wrong, maybe I don't go one too far with this, but let's say that tree limb, because it's huge, and it's going to do some damage to somebody's windshield when it comes down. Someone's traveling down that road and that tree limb hits somebody's windshield, and maybe they go through a house. Something, and like I said, I was told that, like I said, I don't want to, pretend that I know government, because I don't. But I'm just going on hearsay that there's so many feet between the road and where the tree's located that you guys would be responsible, and there's, another thing as the homeowner would be responsible.
Hey, Richard, your 5 minutes is up here. Can you answer that?
I won't sound like an attorney because it depends.
It does. That's what I was gonna say too.
It's not, I mean, there's typically what they call a right of way, which could be 30 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet. It just depends on how it's platted. In that, whatever the platted right of way for any street is, the village has the rights to use that. To put water, sewer, storm, do whatever they need to do. But traditionally, it could be, we'd have to look at the village's code, but traditionally, most cities that I've been involved with, the villages that I've been involved with, sidewalks and trees are property owners' issues. Because we've had situations like you're saying here, where there's a tree that looks like it's imminently gonna fall, and the homeowner's not doing anything about it. So sometimes I've had municipalities step up and do it and take care of it because it's just for the safety of the public.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, because if that tree limb comes down, it's gonna go through so much money.
The other thing, and I don't know much about this, is Ron Coffey, the tree commission got a $300,000 grant, and I don't know if they're gonna be something to take down dead trees. We'll have to find out about that. Okay, Kevin, you got anything? Okay, is there any old business?
Yes.
All right.
I don't know if the rest of and this is for the council members, I don't know if the rest of you received an email from Todd in reference to a requirement training we were supposed to take.
We took a training, are we talking about the one that Corey, Phil, and I already took?
Okay, but did,
Hockey?
Yeah,
no,
you
this
didn't
is
know.
for all training.
Oh.
Okay, and
No, I
Auditor
didn't get
State,
anything.
Auditor State sent Todd an email, he forwarded it, and I took the training.
I mean, I got it in my.
I got it.
I got it from the
I
other.
just didn't get anything.
Okay, well,
Comes
the
either
worst
way,
part is,
email.
It wouldn't have come.
I don't know
to
if they sent it to your guys' private one or
Email.
we just got mixed up, but it shows Phil at his address, but it only shows Corey Taylor. And it doesn't say Corey Taylor in your email. Anyway, I'm just saying that you guys need to log in and need to make sure the rest of the employees, yeah, I can do that for you. That we all log in because every employee for the village has to take it.
Okay, I need, if somebody could resend that to me.
I'll
because
resend it to you,
I-
Ms. Brenda.
If I got it,
I just wanted to make sure we were all in
because I
compliance.
don't
that's all.
remember ever getting that.
Any other old business?
That's it.
Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
There's a, what's this change of LLC membership application?
Oh, that's the topic. I think that's what we're looking
I don't know why it's under new business.
It was in the
Well-
bottom.
Yeah, so I received it in the mail. I gave everyone a copy.
Yes.
It's like a
But
transfer.
that's what we already voted on with the liquor license, right? It's just a transfer
Transfer.
of
And he's
a.
transferring
Well-
it.
The first one,
No, this ain't the same.
no, this one was the one that you voted on was R&B Smoke and Stuff. This is
Yeah.
for a business called La Bamba.
Well, I just thought that was maybe the name of the company that owned it, R&B. That was my understanding. But in La Bamba, I think it's the Mexican restaurant.
Is that the Marathon?
The Bowman's Mexican
The
restaurant.
Mexican restaurant?
Yeah.
El Canyon.
El Canyon, yeah. They're La Bamba.
It looks like they're switching their
They
name.
should have liquor license already.
They're switching the name.
Yeah, it looks like they're
They're
transferring.
changing their, well, they're switching their LLC.
On the bottom.
So I don't know that they're changing the name of the restaurant, they're just changing the name of the LLC. So so they're saying their liquor license needs to go under this name now instead of what it was currently under? that
Yeah, I
my
think that it's a transfer of ownership between like two partners to just one, as far as Mr. Zetz explained it in an email to me. But it said something about like the important part was underneath that barcode about if y'all wanted to have a hearing on it, or I wasn't.
Yeah, because we probably have to.
I think we need a little more detail.
Because if we had to do this other transfer, I'm sure we would have to on this one, wouldn't we?
Okay.
So it has to be postmarked no later than next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, usually they ask the police department if they've had any trouble out there.
that's usually, the first thing. But, well, we have to, can we vote? We can't vote on it
We can
without
vote it,
anything.
we can make a motion to vote on it As long as it's a clear, clean title.
I get, so it says, so complete and return this form to the Division of Liquor Control whether or not there is a request for a hearing. So it's, I guess that's what you guys are deciding on, if you request
Why
a
don't we
hearing
have
or
this run
not.
by the chief of police, because
Okay.
like you said, he always gives us direction on any of the liquor licenses,
Okay.
as always. And then once he says that, then maybe we can, I don't know, we would have to have a quick meeting.
Well, you could have, we could vote on it too, with the codicil that it has to have a clean hearing from the chief of police.
Okay, well then can you put that in a motion?
Yeah, sure. I move we vote on the, what's the correct name?
La Bamba of Southern Ohio LLC.
Okay, to change his name to La Bamba.
I don't think that's what this
Change
is.
the LLC to.
I think you better these people in. This is liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's,
well then.
Let's get a little more clarification.
We'll have to go to a special meeting then. Okay.
did you want to like schedule a special meeting for it? Like now while we're all here?
Yeah, we need to,
I wonder why they take it so long to get this to us, because it says it was mailed 9/12. Responses have to be by 10/15.
Yeah, right now. We don't have to call special meeting. It says to respond.
Well, this says responses to be postmarked.
So that means we mail it back and they postmark.
Yeah, so we gotta get them in here. and
So let's
done.
request for them to come in and see us.
what day you want to do it?
On our regular schedule.
On our regular scheduled meeting.
Yeah,
Which
because
is-
as long as they're postmarked, like this. What's the
Yeah, but it's-
But the date of our next meeting is the 15th.
No, it's,
Yeah, because the 14th is Columbus Day.
Our next meeting is the 21st.
it's the next meeting is not.
Or the 21st, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this thinking.
But as long as it's postmarked by the 15th,
Which is next Tuesday.
which is next
That gives us
Tuesday,
8 days.
gives us 8 days to send them this letter and request that they show up on the 21st.
Are they saying our postmark or their postmark back to the liquor control?
Turn this one in Division of Liquor, whether or not there is a request for a hearing, refer to number blah, blah, blah. Mark was the following. We request a hearing, issuing the permit request that the hearing be held in our county seats.
We're just
That's
requesting,
good.
all it is to request a hearing. That's all that is. If they had trouble, they have a hearing. We do not need a hearing. That's all that is.
We can say we do not request a hearing.
So they've never had any trouble out there as far as I know.
I just, but the names, they all are the same names too, just give them some of that license.
So we just need to advise Catherine that we do not request a hearing?
Right.
Ooh.
Do you have to make a motion on that or just, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's all it is. It's just to have a hearing.
So do we need to do anything
It
official?
went from 50-50 to 100, so what she's doing is she's adding Megan Rosales to the liquor license.
No, it's, from what Mr. Zetz explained to me, it was like a joint thing and someone is being removed from ownership and it's only gonna be a sole owner.
Justin Mario.
Okay.
See?
I agree.
So are we
So
okay?
what do we have to do now?
Just mark the box that says we do not request a hearing and have Catherine sign it because it wants clerk of city council.
Yes.
So you guys don't, do you have to make a motion about that for the minutes or no?
Yeah, probably need to make a motion.
Okay, I move that we do not need to have a hearing for this transfer on the LLC. We will allow Catherine to sign it and send it back so it will be postmarked in the manner, date that is required.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
That was a really long motion.
No, she's right. I know, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to put it any better.
Please say the lead. Very disappointing. So I'm bothered. You say the lead. Oh, sir, I really appreciate you calling me a liar either.
I didn't can call you, and I even said I needed to figure out how to stay ready.
Not yet. Okay, so how does this sound before?
Okay.
So Mrs. Losi made a motion, moved that we do not need a hearing for the La Bamba application and authorize the village and authorize the village clerk to postmark the council's response before the date. Okay, and who was the second?
Nay.
Mary Ellen.
McMurray,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Clyburn,
Yes.
Uten,
Yes.
Lucy.
Yes.
Okay, any other new business?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Y'all take care.
Mary? See you guys.
Thanks, Gary. Nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you. See you guys.
Says.